Hello, everyone. Welcome back. It's Mike here with the Impossible Puzzles Show. I'm joined by Sean Littman, everyone. Sean, it's episode 94. That means 93 times before you people said crazy things. Can you beat them? Oh, that's a new intro. Okay, go talk about yourself. What are you all about?
Oh, geez. Wow. First of all, Mike, thanks so much for having me on your show. It's always fun to be on the other side of the microphone for a change. It was an absolute pleasure meeting you at our event, Nonprofit Connection Fest, which we are doing Connection Fest 2.0, bigger, better, and uncut, September 8th. So if you guys are nonprofit people and you want to come to a really kick-ass event, come on through to Connection Fest. We'll be dropping the link on that. So what's my deal? That's a fun question because I always ask that question to people and it throws them for a loop. So my deal is like this. I like to solve problems and I like to help people and I like to solve problems that actually help people. So this is how I ended up in the wonderful random world of nonprofits. Before that, my background had been in business development and sales. And then I got into marketing by default because I worked for a guy who sucked at what he did. And I say that straight up. It seems like he's doing all right for himself right now, thank God. But when I was working, I got into marketing by default because I was hired on to do sales for his marketing agency, which he at the time seemed like he didn't know what he was selling. And so getting into marketing, bridging the background between marketing and sales and seeing the correlations between the two and how you have to have one and the same, the two of them go hand to hand in hand, like, peanut butter and jelly. I really started diving deep into that whole space. And so I had been hired as how do you say it? I was a hired gun for multiple different companies doing sales and other things like that. At one point, I was doing sales. I was selling for two different companies back to back on the same time zone because I'm based in Israel, and I was just like, "How the hell am I doing this?" And it was fun. But I've always been a creative person. I've always been an outside the box thinker. I've always been like the box is here and I'm like down the road. So I've always been thinking. I'm a builder. I like to build things. I like to see the vision come through. And so around the time I was working for a company, a Jewish company called OnlySimchas.com, where OnlySimchas.com had been like the before Instagram, before Facebook, before social media, Jewish people, Jewish couples would post their pictures on this website. It's kind of like a giant like Pinterest board, I guess you would call it. And people would post their pictures and they would get a ton of traffic. They'd been around for like 30 years. They had a very nice brand recognition. And at the time, the Jewish media world had been falling into a trap where it was owned by one giant conglomerate, and everyone was selling to everybody's clients. And they had competing like media platforms with each other. And I was running Only Simchas. We did about $500,000 in sales in the last year that I was there. And I was like, guys, we're losing money to like ourselves theoretically and other people. We got to figure out what to do. We've got the brand recognition, we've got the traffic. Let's do something different. And that's always my motto. Let's do something different because everyone's always like, let's do like everybody else is doing because, it works. So it's like, yeah, it works for them, but like, let's do something different. So I had this idea to create a database site only Simcha's listings. Whereas, the logical next step is you get engaged. Now you got to figure out what the hell you're going to do. What, halls, caterers, music, all that stuff. So I was like, guys, let's do this. We've got the traffic, we got the brand recognition, we can sell subscriptions on this stuff and people would buy it like crazy. I'm like, nah, that's stupid. I'm like, why? Because it's stupid. We'd rather work on get a commission from the vendors. I was like, well, that's dumb. So after that, I was like, this is really dumb. I'm not making any money, and it was a great run, but have a nice day. So I ended up dropping them, and I took that idea and I went with it, and I created my first company called GoSimcha.com. Now, for those who are listening who are in the not Jewish world, like Mike and I in some days, we we created GoSimcha.com to replicate and model after the Not.com and Wedding Wire, which for those who are in that industry, Not and Wedding Wire are owned by the same company, and they have sub companies underneath them for different party type things. So we modeled our site and our whole brand and our whole persona after the Not because the ultimate exit strategy was we were going to sell to the Not, and because it was a great idea, super niche, like Jewish, religion based event planning and event vendors, And to the point where we were literally going off of their website and calling people and saying, hey guys, you want to get more Jew parties? Sure. How do we do that? I'm on my site. Really? Yeah. List with us. You get one Jew party, they're going to talk about you forever. So you're going to have repeat business. The ROI is through the roof. And we were getting people, like all these people on our site.
So true.
And we built our first podcast around it called Go Simcha the Podcast, which was a podcast where we sat down and interviewed famous Jewish musicians and singers, and of all walk, like throughout the entire spectrum of the religious Jewish world. And we were the first of our kind to start doing Jew podcasting. And we used it as a traffic generator. And we also then created a spin-off show called Beyond the Simcha, which was where we sit down and interview vendors and get their stories. So that way it was a nice piece of PR. And before I had come into Only Simchas, I was working for another company called the American Registry, where they were a company that took, those bogus, like top doctor, top lawyer stuff that you get in the magazines, and they would take those little listings and sell you a $150 wall plaque so you could hang on your wall and make yourself feel better about yourself. And I took
You're just so raw, just sharing all your stories. I love it. And you have many stories to tell. And
I've got more.
Your style, go on. Your style of interviews, podcasting, YouTubing, you have a different style completely. You have a different style.
I just, because it's not about me as the host. It's about the guest. Because no one cares about me. Everyone cares about you. We want to hear your story.
But now you're the guest. So
now I'm the guest.
Different.
So I get to dish. So, so I actually this is actually part of an underlying theme with me is, and most people who are in business, you learn from all sorts of things. So I took what I learned from American Registry and how they took these little bogus, like little top doctor, top lawyer type, like little blurbs in the papers and spun them up into like a $150 wall plaque. And I did the same thing with Go Simcha as a lead generator. I would write articles on our site, the top 10 kosher caterers in Brooklyn. Like 7 out of the 10 would be people already listing on our site. 3 of them would be people who were like, hey man, you made the top 10 kosher caterers list in Brooklyn on gosimcha.com. What the hell's Go Simcha? Oh, I don't know, but I made the top 3. You want to list with us? Yeah, sure. Okay, awesome. And it just kind of it's the content marketer in me. And so flash forward Corona. Go Simcha was thriving and Corona killed it because the event industry took a massive nosedive and our site got hacked. So I was like, let's shelve this. And then we ended up pivoting into the nonprofit space because we were already running our agency, our digital agency, and we got heavy into nonprofits. And then, surprise, surprise, another problem comes around is that, we have to solve it because most, if not all, the nonprofit software on the market sucked because it was all focused on donor management and fundraising, but never outbound marketing and bringing new people in and growing your communities and growing your fan base. So we said, this is really stupid. All these other fundraising platforms are nickel and diming everybody and just making money off of you. Let's change that. And let's focus on the marketing component where there's actually a space for you people to continue the conversations and bring more people into your communities. And so we built GiveSuite, and we've been rocking GiveSuite for the past 4 years. And GiveSuite is an entire ecosystem of its own. And all the stuff that we did with Go Simcha, we've done that with GiveSuite, except with more experience, more money, and more people. And we have our main podcast, which I've been running for about 5 years now, called Profiting with Nonprofits. And that's how I meet a lot of my partners. And then we have a spin-off podcast, which now has turned into a TV show called BeyondTheBottomLine, where we use it as a lead generator for GiveSuite. When we write articles, we still do the same content marketing strategies and diversify our content to bring more people into us. And of course, we have our flagship event called Connection Fest, which Mike had the pleasure of hanging out at.
Fascinating. Fascinating. And behind GiveSuite and behind Sean Littman's projects, you're a religious guy. You got the thingy.
I got the thingy.
You got the mic. Could we talk a little bit? We'll come back to all the great stuff you're doing and pump it forward and plug it. But a few minutes of what's it like I feel that the world's up against me sometimes when I'm like, oh, I'm going to do a
So I'll tell you.
podcast, and yeah, what's your experiences
So I'll
as
tell
a
you.
religious Jewish
I
guy with a
honestly
podcast?
can I like be
Yeah,
like my say what's how I say it.
you can
I
say whatever
I
you want.
honestly I honestly don't give a shit.
Yes,
Like
swear F. Yeah, I love it.
I honestly don't care what people think.
Mm,
Like everything is the smart people who are in business build relationships, and it's all about
yes.
relationship building, caring, sharing, loving, and supporting, and building relationships with people. The stupid people care about oh, you're wearing a kippah, you're Jewish, you're in Israel, I'm not going to do business with you. Okay, great, I don't want to do business with you either. Like, you're probably a piece of shit. Like, why do I want to work with you? Like,
You're saying that is also a filter. If you instead of you
uh,
shaving and taking off your yarmulke and pretending to be, less who you are, you're saying it's
why?
actually we should never change who we are. Sean
No.
Littman says, "This is who
Why
I
should
am."
we? I'll tell you, I actually had a conversation with a guy. I thought it was good. It seemed like it was going to be a great partnership. He liked our product. We kind of vibed exactly well with what he wanted. And then he comes back to me. He's like, "Listen, I like you guys. I like your product. Please don't be offended. But like a lot of my customers feel uncomfortable dealing with a company that's based in Israel because of the conflict." And I was like, "Well, it was great knowing you. Pleasure to meet you. Have a nice day." Very,
You,
very clean reply.
yeah,
I don't need
clean.
this. I don't care. Like what? Move on.
Move on.
Um,
You're not afraid to be like, look, this is
no,
business here, and this is real life, and let's not dance around. And you never hide the fact that you're Israeli or
no,
you're American
we're
Israeli.
like we're an Israeli-based company. We're all Orthodox Jews except for our CTO who's an Indian, and our head of
Baruch
customer
Hashem.
success who's in Filipino. We don't care. Like who cares? It's about doing good business with people and giving you the greatest experience on earth. So you go out there and tell your friends.
And you aim to do good through
Yes.
business. It's
That,
not all about grab the fast cash or fluff up the
well,
marketing. I've had some, as you said, you've had jobs, me too, where you're not always in the right place at the right time, or you're told to do the wrong thing. You
it's
you don't like that. You want to be
No, I
authentic.
don't like
Yeah,
shtick. I
good.
don't like shtick because people can see through shtick, and people
Yeah,
can see when you're bullshitting. And when you build relationships with people, meaningful relationships with people, it comes back to you in kind, and that's the key to doing business. And that is the super duper key to doing business is building relationships and building connections and having conversations with people, seeing how you can genuinely help them. And if you can't, I always say this to people when I reach out to people. I always say, hey, I'd love to get you on my podcast. My lead in is I'd love to get you on my TV show, and I say, like, let's get on, let's have you on. I think it'd be great. Worst comes to worst, we talk and it doesn't, and we don't do anything afterwards, and we become friends. Because like you never know where it's going to come from. You never know where your next referral is going to come from. You never know where,
so
you
true.
know, and if you work on building the relationships, even if something ends bad, you don't want to go out and be like a jerk about it. Because you never know what, like I'll give you an example. There was a guy who worked for me for 6 years, and I had to like let him go because it just was costing me too much money. And I was like, nope, don't take it personal. Like, we had there was a few bits and bobs about it, arguments, whatever. But anytime someone calls me about him for referral, I always say the nicest things about him because why wouldn't I?
Yes,
Like, like,
yes,
like,
yes. We
why
should.
wouldn't I?
We
Like,
should even.
it's just bad business.
It's bad business, and doing the right thing, it has ripple effects. And then people, even if someone's mean to me or you, we're trying to find the good and to sort
Right.
things out. And because like that of karma, like if you speak to
Yeah.
someone in India, they're like, well, Michael, we have to be careful about the karma. I'm like, karma? And he's like, what goes around comes around. It's even better because his parents were yoga instructors for many years. But interesting. And You have a big family too. I have 5 kids and a wife.
I've got 6 of them.
How do you balance everything? I'm barely every day is a chaos. I'm struggling.
Uh, I often wonder that myself. Pure siyata d'shmaya. I don't know how you
Mm.
translate that in English, but like I just every day is a new day,
Help from
and
above. Help from
there you go.
above is every day's a new day. Here, say your piece. Every day's a
Every
new
day, no,
day.
really, every day is
Siyata
a new day.
d'shmaya.
Some days suck, some days are better, but everything's a blessing. And once you realize um, that again, not is every day. I often have this struggle. Like I'm doing, and this is the beauty of running a startup. Like I guess you
Mm.
would call it a startup. I hate buzzwords, but like you're
An
doing, you're
early
doing, you're doing, you're
stage,
you're
a
pushing, you're
growing.
pushing, and like you're
Yeah.
just like when's it's just all gonna just like plop in your lap. But then when you realize that the blessing is not necessarily a large wad of cash landing in your lap and saying here you go. It's like little micro things that keep happening, and like little things that keep pushing and in different ways. Then you're like, okay, I see now.
Yes, that's what it comes down to.
And
And
I've had
what's
that. I've
yeah.
had that before when I'm sitting and doing meditation, and I'm just like, I'm thinking like, why, come on, God, like, where's the big pile of cash that's going to come save the day? But it's not the big pile of cash that's going to come save the day. It's all the little micro things that are there to save the day. Like, it's like, oh wow, holy cow, like we just got another customer. Oh my gosh, we're like, we're doing all this, like, all. And
Yes.
again, it comes back to the relationships, building the relationships, because when you have credibility. Yeah, I was just reading this, and I don't know if I'm going to piss anybody off when I say his
No,
name, but
say.
like, I've been reading Donald Trump's book, The Art of the Deal, and the man is a genius par excellence, and when it comes to deals, when it comes to business, and he says the same thing. It's all about credibility. Like if you have good credibility, and if you're a mensch about things, and you're honest, and you build relationships and do good business, people, that's what it's all about. Your credibility, like people will trust you, people will work with you, people will want to work with you and gravitate towards you if you treat them with respect, and you build relationships, and you're not trying to go out there and just trying to undercut somebody and make a buck. And unfortunately, you see this a lot with people. They think they're slick, they think they're like, oh, I'm just gonna, like they think you have to screw people over to be successful, but it's the
Yeah.
opposite.
You're all about the long game, do the right thing, attention to detail, careful
Hmm.
in communications, honorable. Interesting. Interesting. Well,
Yeah.
when, when did you switch from I'm working for someone else, I don't have to worry about everything, but there's some guilt, there's some dead queens, dead presidents.
It was kind of like I said, when I was working with Only Simchas and other places, and I was just like,
Yeah.
this is stupid because this is not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And I said to myself, you got to poop or get off the pot. And
Yes.
I think it was around that time where everything just kind of pivoted. And I realized I'm not meant to work for people. Again, I always say this, and I'm not saying this in a haughty way. Some people go work for somebody, clock in, clock out, get your 9 to 5, get your paycheck, bro. Like seriously, get paid, live your life, have fun, like live it up, you know. But other people are meant
Mm,
to for this type of work. And then the
yeah.
problem is people always see like the end result, and they don't see the amount of time. Like it's 10:45 at night on a Sunday night.
I
I'm dead tired. I've been sick all week, and I don't say no to being on a show because that's just stupid. That's PR. That's conversation. That's fun. I had cellulitis in my leg, but I'm like
oh
I
God.
I, I I'm fueled by caffeine and nicotine. Um,
Well, better that than Jack Daniels and
that's
CBD and THC
that
and
that,
crack.
that no crack, no crack. Um, but
Only crack
um,
in the books open. LSD. Let's start dubbing and
there
POT.
you
Put
go.
on Tvillin.
Oh God.
So, all right, back to
So
the main schedule program.
but I'll tell you again, like a lot of people, they're like, they only see the finished product. They don't see the work. I'll tell you a story while we're on the stories. A couple days ago, like 10 years of like really hard work and idea and finally putting something together, I saw it come to fruition, my magnum opus. I had an idea 10 years ago because I have lots of ideas. And I was sick and tired of the fundraising, all these fundraising platforms, charging people a percentage on top of another percentage on top of another percentage, and then do subpar marketing on your campaigns. And I said we should create an all-inclusive platform where the donors cover the fees. The organization is actually raising $1 million, is going to make $1 million, and all the marketing, it's one flat fee for the marketing. And this was the precursor to GiveSuite. So a couple days ago, we launched the campaign for a customer of ours, and everything was running smoothly. The data was all pulling from the fundraising platform into GiveSuite, into our donor database. Everything, all the records are tying. All the automations are working. Everything was like doing what it was supposed to do. And I was just like, wow, this is how you say it in English, like mamish gewaldig.
Mamish gewaldig. How do we translate that? It's
Absolutely freaking awesome.
Yeah, it's mamish gewaldig. There are some expressions you just have to say in Hebrew or Yiddish,
right?
Yeshivish,
and I was
it.
just like, this is great. But like, again, back to the point of like when I pivoted from whatever, some people are meant to work for people, which is awesome. Some people are more ideal to be running their own bit. And and again, a lot of people are to me, how do you do this? I want to do what you do. I'm like, no, you don't. You don't want my job. You don't want my job.
I love this. I love this. Okay, I have it maybe to a lesser extent where someone's like, oh, Merker, wow, you have 2, almost 3 patents. I'm like, you don't want to know. And it's like, wow, I wish. And you have your talk show and you have your YouTube 5,000 videos and your basement's filled with off-brand Lego puzzles. And wow, man, I would love to live your life. And I'm like, no, there's been 3 times my wife threatened to divorce me. There are unpaid amounts that have to be paid. There are ups and downs with 12 other people involved. There are people have left to come back. There are people who were dying to leave. It's not a fairy tale. And it's like, really? And I'm like, yeah, it's not so, everyone wants to go on LinkedIn and say I'm the founder and CEO of something. Wait till you sit in the hot seat and cry yourself to sleep at night.
Exactly.
Oh my God. And that's not said enough.
It's fun to write about, oh, I'm a founder. I'm a this. It's like, oh, we have this much annual AAR. It's like, no one gives a shit. Like, what are you actually doing? Like, and yeah, exactly. And people don't see the hard work, and this is why social media, in the business world and social media in general, is the biggest farce on the planet, because everyone's just showing the good parts, but no one's showing and no one's talking about like the actual work that goes into doing something. I know a guy who's like his whole dream in life, his whole goal in life, he wants to be a millionaire, but God love him to ever actually hold down a job for 5 seconds.
How many people I know where
but he wants to be a millionaire.
Yeah, the wantingness. Yeah, I tell everyone I know that there's a big difference between posting on LinkedIn or Facebook, oh, I'm gonna founder, to actually dying in the ditch for 3 to 5 years, if not 10 years. And what is that about? Why is there so many? Why do 90% of these posts on LinkedIn and people going around saying they're involved in a startup or founder, but I don't see I don't see like the blood on their hands. I don't see the sweat on their brow.
Because it's cool to talk about stuff. There's 2 types of people. There's the people who talk about stuff, and there's the people who do stuff. There's less people who do stuff than there are people who talk about stuff. So the ones who do things, you don't hear about them. This is why you do everything. How you say it in English? Like sneeze. Like you
sneeze with a downplayed.
right, but
modestly,
not in a
rejecting
like
publicity, like
not in
avoiding
a
the.
timid not in a timid way, because timidity is not a good meetup, but like in a way of like, why do you have to know my business? If you know what I'm doing, you know what I'm doing. If you don't know what I'm doing, then fuck
That's
off. Like,
right. That's right. If it's we don't need to. You're against the. Although there needs to be some presence on a LinkedIn, a
oh,
YouTube.
I'm super active
Yeah.
on LinkedIn. I'm super active on multiple content channels. But
Yes.
what the difference between what I do and what other people do is I'm giving you information that's gonna make you want to connect with me, so that way we can have another conversation, versus saying, "Hey guys, my company just did $100 million in annual recurring revenue, and we just got VC backed by blah blah blah." Like, no one gives a shit, because
Yes.
now the
No
fact
one
that you're
gives.
saying that
Yeah.
you have $100 million in annual recurring revenue, which means what? What's your bottom line mean? That's not profit. That's not profit at all. That's and how much of that's churn? And then now you're saying you're VC backed. Okay, so now someone owns your ass. So like, what are you left with? $100 million in annual recurring revenue. What are you left with? Bragging rights on the internet to say, "Oh, I'm a founder of so and so startup, the AI company that wipes your ass and makes coffee for you." Like, what do you, while blowing your nose?
I love it,
Like,
man. I love it.
what does it matter?
You're so
Give
raw.
people.
You're so raw. You're just
Because I've
yeah.
seen it. Like, I'm just like, it's not even that I'm sick of it, because it's like you're desensitized to the bullshit, but it's a matter of like, it's all about giving people value, and most people on the internet are not giving people value. They're giving people like cookie cutter, like, AI playbooks and other things like
Yeah,
that. And when you start giving,
it's all Narishkeit, and you like the swearing, and you're wearing a yarmulke. Or is this
I
can I
don't like
adopt
to
this as well?
I don't like to use like that type of language, but like, but
Yeah,
when I get into like a mood,
yeah,
like when I'm having
me
these
too.
type of conversations, like I really try to keep my mouth clean, because you never know who you're going to be hanging out with and having a conversation with, and it's not good to use bad language,
No, no,
because
I have people. I've had meetings where people are swearing, and I have like a 4-year-old daughter on my lap coloring next to me on the video. I've had
right.
podcasts where people start swearing, and then they go, "Oh, is it okay to swear?" And I'm like, "Hell yeah!" Until my wife watches. I didn't know that video would be seen 200 times. And then I guess you're like a trailblazer. You want to be your own independent thinker, a maverick. But you go to you're in Israel. You're what did they say? It's shul. Me, they're like, oh, that Merker. We don't know what he's up to. He's a loose cannon. The minute we bring out the chicken wings, he's gonna eat all of them. We have to be careful around him. He had 11 Pepsis that one day. I'm like, I had 6
Bro.
Pepsis, and the other 5 I may have tasted from left, because no one else had them. They're like, Mercury, you slept 11 hours last night. No, I slept 6 hours. The other 5 were relaxing.
Well, there you go. No, I mean, like I said, I like to. I'm kind of like, if you know what I do, you know what I do. If you don't know what I do, then that's okay too.
And
I
would you say you're happier now at this? Like, I'm 42, I'm married, I have 5 kids. I'm figuring out like a type of like song and media puzzle system, and but I'm happier today than I was in chemical engineering at university, or when I was in yeshiva in New York, or when I was on that trip in Israel for 4 months. I'm happier now where I can be like more Mike Merker. Yeah.
I mean, so I apologize for this. I had to get
No, no, real life. It's like
um,
11 p.m. there. Oh my God.
I'll tell you what it is. Is that you're constantly evolving, and I wouldn't say I'm happier now. I'm saying I'm in a different space than I was. You know, it's a little bit more, depending on the day. It's a bit more of a difficult space, but I'm happy you asked that question, because it's something that like I think about a lot, because the idea is we're trying to constantly work on ourselves. We're trying to grow. We're trying to like make ourselves better humans. So I wouldn't say, am I happier now than I was 15 years ago when I first got married and didn't know what I did for a living? I'd say it's a different. It's a
Yeah.
different level of, in terms of, where I'm at in my, my life. I have 6 kids. Now I have more responsibilities. Now I have people who work with me. Now I have other people to feed other than myself and my wife and my kids.
That's
But
right.
am I doing something that I enjoy doing? Am I having a blast with it? You bet your arse I am, because I like having conversations with people. I like building things. I like to see the fruits of my labor again, whether I see like immediate results coming from something or I see the long term effect. And that's what it's all about. It's all about the long term. I didn't tell you about this. I had a brief takufa where I was working in a online lottery call center in Tel Aviv. Super scammy, super seedy. Oh my god! It was just like grimy beyond grimy.
I've
And
had
I needed
crazy
a job,
jobs.
dude. And so they liked me because I was American, and I spoke fluent English, and I was good at sales, and so I was always playing the long game. Get these little stupid like New Zealanders to pay £5 for a scratch off, and then slowly up them to like 20,000 euros worth of online lottery tickets, which turned out to be a scam. And whereas the Israelis were like, "Hello, I am the manager. I want to give you a 20,000 euro worth of tickets. It's Powerball. It's $8 million. You win. Okay, okay, bye bye." And the Israelis are all about like, let's do this right now
Yeah.
because there's a scarcity mindset. And there's me just playing the long game. And then I'd end up making more money than all these other guys because I build a relationship with these guys. I don't know these people for beans, but like I'm building relationships with them.
Yes.
And that's what it's all about,
Yes.
is when you build the relationships and you cultivate the relationships. This is why I teach all my nonprofit customers. This is the whole premise of our system, is
Yeah.
is building a system for long-term cultivation, because when you're running
Yeah.
these fundraising
Yeah. Yeah.
campaigns and if you haven't talked to your people in forever, no one's going to give a crap about you. Like and then you're like, how come my campaign didn't work? It's like, well, because when was the last time you talked to these people? Did you recognize them as humans? Did you recognize them as
Yeah.
people who actually care about your organization? Or just like, hey, he gave me $1,000 last time, maybe he'll give me 2,000 this time. It's like, no, that's not how it works. That's not how life works. You have to build relationships with people.
What's a day? What's a day in your life like? You're so interesting. Israeli,
I'm
married,
interested.
6 kids, yarmulke swearing, multiple projects, companies working, and you're fascinating. Podcasting,
I'm
hundreds.
not so
How
interesting,
many
man.
hundreds of episodes? I see you online. You have. I'm like, I the other day, or I'm interrupting the line of thinking here. I'm like, the other day, I was like, when I first found out about you, I'm like, who is this Sean Littman? There cannot be another keep wearing white shirted, 5+ kids married guy with a better microphone than me. That's like, oh my, I burned by another's canopy over here.
Dude, you have a Yeti, Mike. I think you have a Yeti, don't you?
I similar zeal sound, but the
Okay.
same, yeah, the same
But
structure, yeah,
I mean, what's a day in my life? Every
yeah,
day's random. I mean, like, not really, because I try to like keep myself kind of organized. I usually wake up around like 6-ish. I have a hard time sleeping because my leg's been bothering me. But I usually wake up
mm,
around 6-ish. I deal with my kids. I get a bunch of them out the door, and then I go to school and I try to learn a little bit, and then I come to my office, try to get myself a little bit more organized, and then depending what's going on the day. But then I'm usually on. I do recordings, trying to get as many people in my calendar as possible for recordings, because that's our lead generator.
yes,
Working on building the event, working on dealing. I do a lot of like the partnership stuff with our company, so I'm trying to build
mm,
these relationships and other things like that. It depends on the day. It really depends on the day. It's like it's nothing's like standard. You know what I mean? It's like nothing's like
yeah. No 2 days are the same. I can so relate,
right.
and like sometimes that calendar. Yeah, I was looking at like I'm like next week. Oh God, I like look at my calendar for next week. I'm looking
Yeah,
at it right now, and I'm like, okay, four podcasts that day, 5 podcasts this day, 7 back to
right.
back intro meetings. Then the other day, it's like 11
Right.
meetings. You've done it longer than me. The partnership building, the sort of constant digital networking.
Hmm.
You've built that muscle strong and clearer. But have you? That's hard, man. It's nothing's harder than I wake up in the morning and I'm like, oh, this day is going to be brutal. Where's the Jack Daniels? You're not an alcoholic. You have not surrendered to the
No,
bottle.
no. I mean, again, when I was younger, I used to drink a lot, but now I'm old, so you don't do that because I'm old. Um, I'd rather just go to sleep. But like,
No, amen.
yeah.
What are you learning in the morning? So many fast. You're studying Yiddishkeit, Torah studies in the
Well, yeah. I
morning.
mean, it depends. I learn a lot of Musar. I do. I've done. I don't know who your audience is, but like I learn a lot of Musar. I do. I do Mishnayos. I've gone through Mishnayos several times. I listen to a Tanya shir every day, and I try a few other
Tanya.
different things.
Who's
I,
the
I
who's the audience? The audience is Jewish and non-Jewish, but there's a heavy load of high-tech entrepreneurship and sort of new media. Is who's the exact
Nice.
audience? You're probably looking at you're sort of looking at the 20 to 40 male, faith interested, kind of pot smoking, kind of Canadian, some American. That's the audience. Most
Nice.
podcasts go. I mean, yeah, no, it's a good question. I guess there were episodes I did that were 2 hours. There have been episodes I did that were 10 minutes. I the audience is also it's strange. I get messages sometimes. Hey, Mike, can I be on? I'm like, sure. Then there's people I've reached out to. They're like, would you like to be on? And they're like, I don't know if I'm worthy. And I'm like, worthy? The other guy
We're
was.
not worthy. We're not worthy.
You're you make sure to pray 3 times a day. You're religiously
Yes.
observant, of course,
Yes.
and you don't ever. And if someone calls you and you have your religious priorities, you do not compromise your religious priorities ever.
No. Why would I?
No, why would I? You heard it here, and or you heard it from Sean's mouth, and you never take off your yarmulke. I know hundreds of people. They're all
Why?
I
Why?
or they take off
Who
the
cares?
yarmulke, put on the baseball hat over the
But
yarmulke. Oh,
but
I'm
who
from South
cares?
Africa. Who
But like,
cares?
who
Who
cares?
cares? You
Who cares, man? Like,
who cares?
again,
I love it.
it comes back to let's build good relationships and see how we can work together. What does it matter about anything else? We
This is a great new idea that's running through my head is that we have to be thinking about the long term ability to build relationships. It's not about the call for within the call, within the episode. It's about the long game. You're always thinking about the long game, even at 11 at night with your leg hurting and interesting. You like living in Israel. You're
yeah,
Israeli.
yeah.
You don't say, "Oh, if I could go back to San Francisco or New York or Tampa Bay, I would be a happier man and go to my swimming pool." No.
No,
Why? What's so great about Israeli life?
the quality of life here. It's much different. It's better. It's a whole new world, and it's just I don't know how to describe it. It's just a better quality of life. People aren't chasing the dollar. I mean, obviously we all want to make money, but like people aren't chasing money like they are in America. And here it's
Yes.
just a much better vibe.
They're not chasing the money and the religious life. You advocate for the religious life. To be a
Absolutely.
Jew, to be a practicing Jew. Why? Why?
Absolutely. Because there's nothing better than religion, like having religion, having community, having a sense of belonging, and having something, being part of something that's bigger than you.
And if people are of different faiths, do you feel they respect you more for your beliefs as a Jew?
Yeah, I mean, I grew
Mm.
up. I went to public school. I was friends with Arab kids, Muslim kids. I was friends with Christian kids. I was friends with all sorts of people, and like it doesn't matter. Like if you're cool and I vibe with you, then we're straight.
And you're not saying I only want to be around Israelis and I only want to be around Orthodox Jews. You're taking on clients of all shapes and sizes whose
Yeah, of course.
nonprofits, of course,
Mm,
and whose nonprofits may be values that are different than your own or causes that you don't necessarily understand or agree
I
with.
mean,
Yeah.
one of our partners that we work with, that we morphed our digital agency with the creative agency. He's a flaming gay dude out in Seattle. Like I don't care.
You don't draw any of these lines like I will be not deal with people who are not religious, or I will look down
No,
upon people of different faiths,
we're
or
here. We're here
yeah.
to make an impression on the world, and by my only criteria is if you're an asshole, I won't work with you. Um,
The asshole
but
criteria, I love it. This is
but like
fascinating, and
we're here to be a light unto the nations, and the idea is like, why should I turn somebody down? Because you never know. And I always have this thought about people, like, because I do podcasting, I have conversations with people. You never know what's going on in someone's head. You never know what's going on, what people are doing. And I feel like it'd be fascinating to like create like a TV show where you just like stare at people from like POV of you, and like hear what people's thoughts are. Sounds kind of creepy, but like you never know what's going on in people's heads, and we're here to be a light onto the nations. We're here to make, to really like get, be here to for people, and we want to make a good impression. And one of my favorite clients always used to say, you only get one chance to make a first impression. So you want to make a good first impression, you want to make a lasting impression, and by alienating people, it just like what good's it going to do? Like it puts you back in your little insert little box, and you're only dealing with the 1% of the 1% of people. And so like, one, it's stupid from a business perspective, but two,
mm.
like you're alienating people, and what's the good in that?
So, and your podcast, are you more of a tell a bit about it?
What?
Share wisdom and perspective from your podcast. Plug your media representations.
My new show, Beyond the Bottom Line, I really love it because, one, again, it's a lead generator, but I love sitting down and talking to nonprofit people because everyone's got an interesting, as I told you, people have interesting stories. People don't always think that they're interesting, but then they have interesting stories, and you let them talk, and you give them a platform to say what's on their mind. And a lot of these nonprofit people have some really interesting stuff that they say, and then why they got into this space and why they decided to be, be in the charitable space. And it's just fascinating.
It's just fascinating to hear everything from individuals who are, it's just a conversation. It's not like a comedy. It's not a super serious. It's just a
No.
raw. It's
Yeah.
unstaged, unscripted. You're all about that. You're all about
Yeah.
just like genuine. You do
Well,
you be you, whatever that is.
yeah.
I'll be me, and we'll meet in the middle. And it doesn't
Basically.
have to be. It's not a. You're not. It's not a Jewish only. It's not. It's
No,
not a
not at
tech
all.
only. It's the
No.
criteria.
If you're
Your
interesting, let's have a conversation.
If you're interesting, let's have. If you're interesting, let's have a conversation. And how do you do it? What's your style? There's no. It's an
I do I
unstyled. It's
I
just
do a little intro, and then I say, nobody cares about me. Let's talk about you. What's your deal? How's it going? Welcome to the show. Open-ended question gives you a chance to like kind of figure out what you're going to say, and then the conversation flows.
fascinating. Fascinating. You don't pigeonhole. You're not like I'm only looking for people who are entrepreneurs or people who are involved in media or
No, 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 no,
no.
no.
And how do you get your people? Are you bribing them with good wishes and prayers?
No, I say again, I do a lot of events, so my usually is like, you want to come on my show. Most people, unless you're really stupid, you say no to being on a podcast.
You would never say no to being on a podcast.
No, why would I?
Why
Unless
would
I'm
I?
unless I'm a day drinker and brain dead moron.
This is
Like, why would?
fascinating. Okay, so beyond the bottom line is
And
shines a light. I'm just checking this out on YouTube at Beyond the Bottom Line show.
that's us. And we're actually now in August. We're launching on streaming TV.
Fascinating,
Yep.
fascinating, and this has been so interesting. I think if you're up for it, we can always do another episode. And there's so
I'd
much I
love to
have
do
to.
another episode. When do you air these? I'm just curious.
It's immediately raw. I just posted right away, the same day.
Wow.
Sometimes people are like, "I need it right away," and I'm like, "Well, we have to finish filming first."
Okay.
And I will pause it here.